and welcome back to Metropole Sports Center. As I had promised before the break, I'm joined in studio by Ronald Okoth, who's the founder of RO Sports Management. If you're watching Metropole Sports Center, you know he's a regular in the show. So he's going to talk about what he's been up to since the last time that you're here. So Ronald, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here once again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe you could tell us, what have you been up to, man, from the last time that you're here?
I think from the last time I was here, a lot of things have happened. Plus, just recently, we are now trying to deal with the corona pandemic that has really brought the world of sports and literally everything into a stop. So for the last 2 weeks, I think I've been trying to be busy with my foundation, RO Sports Foundation, and also trying to set up my RO Sports Soccer Academy that we are soon hoping to launch before the year ends. Yeah.
Okay. So sadly, a couple of weeks ago, you lost your former coach. That's Henry Omino. Maybe you could share your reflections on him.
I call him, he's like a father to me, because I owe a lot to him, because he's the first coach who gave me my first ever real experience playing the Kenya Premier League, because this is a coach who believed in me through thick and thin. I would even not train well throughout the week, but come the weekend, I'm starting the match. So he's a coach who really had so much hope, who had so much faith, who had so much belief and trust in me. And he's a coach I owe a lot. Even until today, I sing a lot of praises on his name, because he's a legend of the game. And it's so unfortunate that he was never celebrated as such. But a lot of very good players has come through his hands and through his knowledge. So we'll forever miss him. And to us, he's somebody who shaped our career, because through him, I got to play a lot of games in the Kenya Premier League, and that's how I got to also make a name for myself. So may his soul rest in peace.
May you rest in peace, Henry Omino. Now, back to the coronavirus pandemic that is ripping across the whole world. We've seen major games that have been cancelled, that the EPL, which I believe you're a strong fan of the EPL, has been suspended because of the coronavirus. So the question that maybe people would like to understand, specifically out of the English Premier League, there's been a whole conversation about whether Liverpool should be awarded the league as it is right now. What do you think about that?
I don't think they should be awarded the league, even though I think it's the same thing back here at home, because you find that the league has been stopped, it has been put on a break. So basically, maybe they can represent the league in the Champions League, but unfortunately for the trophy, I don't think that would be fair enough. I think the same thing can apply back here at home. In case we don't resume the league, probably the team that is leading the first position can have the luxury of maybe representing the country in the CAF Champions League and also the CAF Confederations Cup. But to be awarded the cup, I don't think it would be fair enough, because what will you say about the teams that are in the relegation battle? I mean, should we relegate them? Yeah, so I think it begs the question to us, what's next now?
Okay. Yeah. Part of the reason why the person I was talking to was alluding to the fact that Liverpool should be awarded is the fact that you've seen they've been on a stellar performance the whole of this season. What do you think about that? Do you think, irrespective or based on how they performed this season, it would be okay to just say, okay, Liverpool, here is the league?
No, I think, okay, we must give credit to them, because I think they've really worked hard for this. I mean, this is a title that has been evading them ever since. But again, it's unfortunate that we have to deal with another issue that we probably not even had planned for. So to me, I think they'll be hard done by in case they don't get the trophy, but we will be all hoping that the league can resume. There have been talks that maybe probably the next games that will be following, the EPL or the English Premier League, will be played behind closed doors. But again, we are not sure. I think everything is so much into uncertainty, and I think they'll be hard done by in case they're not awarded the trophy. But we can't take anything away from them, because they've been remarkable since last season and also throughout this season.
Okay. Yeah. Another major conversation about the coronavirus pandemic was the whole cancellation of the Tokyo Olympics. Yeah. Were you expecting it, or what was your take about that?
Fairly speaking, I think I was expecting it, because I mean, health is wealth. There's no way we can risk people's lives because of sports. We've seen even major leagues, EPL, we've seen even Kenya Premier League, we've seen
which we'll talk about in a few.
Yeah, everything has been stopped, meaning the pandemic we are facing is a very huge pandemic. Plus, you know, in sports, it's a contact game. There's no way you'll avoid making contact with the opponent. So definitely sportsmen, we are at a very high risk, and we've seen it even with Juventus, the players, and even in some other teams. So I think it was rightly done for the Tokyo Olympics to be postponed, and hopefully until we can deal with such an issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we come back to talk about the Kenya Premier League, in case you missed it, this is what the Prime Minister of Japan and the President of the International Olympic Committee had to say during the announcement of the postponement of the Tokyo Olympics. Now, Ronald, out of that, before that announcement came, there was a conversation from Carl Lewis. Carl Lewis was a former Olympian. He was alluding to the fact that maybe the Olympics should not be cancelled or something else. So there was a whole conversation about that. Apart from that, Canada also withdrew from the Olympics. Now that the announcement has been made, what changes do you think are going to appear in the next few months?
I think the only changes we're about to see is the host country will probably be much strict in terms of maybe trying to ensure that anyone who will be traveling into the country has been tested and has been checked, so that at least they know that whoever will be participating in the Olympics or in those games is healthy enough to be in that country. So I think what we're only bound to see is they'll be strict in terms of scrutinizing whoever will be joining the country. But otherwise, I don't think much will change because everything had already been planned. So it was all about just now rolling out the drums for the participants to start participating in the respective games. Okay. Yeah.
So back to the Kenya Premier League. You play for Sofapaka in the Premier League. Maybe you could give us an insight into what has transpired in the Kenya Premier League at the backdrop of the coronavirus.
Well, speaking as a player, I can say that it's tough. It's so tough because for the last 2 weeks we haven't trained, and you don't even move a lot unless you have the luxury of maybe moving in your car or anything. But we have been told to stay at home and maybe try and avoid, social gatherings that has a lot of crowd and everything. So we have some guidelines that they put for us. So for us players, it's tough because we are not playing football. We are not doing something that we love to do, and this is the only job that we love doing. So we are not playing football. The league has been put on a break, and also we can't represent the club the way we would like to. So even for the club, again, it's a loss for the club because you can never even remember the last match that we went and played. We traveled to Bandari to play the Betway Shield Cup match, and now before the match, Bandari players walked out. The reason being, they say that there's a corona outbreak. And so we traveled all the way to Mombasa only to end up not playing the match. And you can see that's a loss for the club president because he invested a lot in that trip. I mean, the hotel, security, transport, everyththing. So it's a huge loss in terms of maybe the way clubs are operating, but it's a huge loss in terms of players. For example, over the weekends, we now don't have any league matches, meaning you can't get any training allowance through the week. You can't get the match bonuses that probably you're going to travel in the game. So, I mean, it has brought the league in a shambles. Plus, if you look at our league currently, we don't even have a league sponsor. Plus, it's now kicks us even back. Yeah, so it's a big struggle.
Okay. Yeah. So, probably in terms of preparedness to the corona pandemic within the Kenya Premier League, what are some of the lapses that maybe you've observed that you think need to be really addressed?
I don't think the lapses are such, because so far so good, because anyway training has been suspended. The league matches have been suspended. I think the only issue that I could have had, maybe we could have been playing our games, and at the same time we have this pandemic ongoing. So I think we must commend the league management for the way they've handled it, and we're only now waiting for just further information, maybe when the league will resume, plus also as a club, or as players, we're waiting for maybe the right information when we'll be resuming training. But so far I think the league management and also our club as a whole have handled the situation much better, because right now we are not training, we are just staying at home, and we're trying to keep fit until this whole issue is dealt with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the major problem, and we were having this conversation off air in relation to the coronavirus, the major challenge that has been faced, maybe the relevant stakeholders have failed, is people are not taking the coronavirus pandemic very seriously.
Yeah.
Maybe you could look at the camera and probably say, give a word of advice to people who are not taking the coronavirus very seriously.
Well, I think I'll tell our viewers and maybe our football fans alike, so that guys, whatever we're dealing with is so serious. I mean that it's a huge thing that we are dealing with, and if we don't take it any serious, it can be catastrophic to us. So let us just follow the guidelines that the government has put in place, or maybe your workplace has put in place, because at the end of the day, your health should come first. I mean, your health should be your first priority, because health is wealth. So if you don't take care of your health, definitely you'll regret later. And let's just try and follow the guidelines that have been put in place, and let's try and avoid social gatherings. Let's try and not touch our faces. Let's wash our hands properly. Let's use sanitizers. In case you use it, you should try and dispose it off properly, because I mean we are trying to tackle a very huge pandemic that is facing us, and we don't want to be another example to the world. So let's just try and protect ourselves and protect our family. Let's not move around, because when we move around, also the virus moves. If you don't move, the virus doesn't move. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ronald, for finding time to come to studio.
It's a pleasure.
Now, just before we take a break, I just wanted to give you a game profile of the Tokyo Olympics, the Olympics generally, in terms of where it is, where it has come from, and where it currently stands. Now, so far up to this point, a total of 28 Summer Olympic Games have been held, and 28 Winter Olympic Games have been held generally in the whole world. The last Olympic was held in Rio de Janeiro, that is in Brazil. You remember, if you're following that particular Olympic, there was a whole scandal that erupted after the Olympics at that particular time. Now, the first modern day Olympic was held in 1896, that is in Athens in Greece. Some of the major Olympics that have been cancelled previously was the one that was cancelled during the World War I and World War II, and then this week the president of the International Olympic Committee, that is Thomas Bach, and Shinzo Abe, the Prime Minister of Japan, announced that the Olympics had been postponed. Now we take a short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be sampling some of the feedback that you gave in relation to whether you agree with the postponement and the cancellation of the Olympics. See you after the break.